What's going on, fam? Joey here. It's my favorite time of the year. Well, almost. It's getting there. Universal Studios has already dropped the rumor mills about what's going on for Halloween Horror Nights. Now, before we get excited about Halloween Horror Nights, the video you are about to watch is my parody video. It is a joke. It is in no way, shape, or form endorsed by Universal Studio. This is just something funny I put together. So before you start yelling at Universal Studios asking if it's true, it's probably not. I'm just having fun, and I hope you're going to have fun with me. So enjoy my Halloween Horror Nights 30 preview map. So as you can see, we're starting with a blank canvas. Nothing too major, just a blank map. But the first one on the list should be no surprise to anybody. It is, say it 3 times, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Now, that one should come of no surprise because it's been a pretty popular rumor for a very long time that Beetlejuice was going to be on the list this year, but nobody saw this one coming. Hello, Simon Pegg and Shaun of the Dead. Love this film. I think it would be a brilliant house. Universal Studios, please look into this one. And as long as we're talking about things that would be awesome and really funny if it happened but probably won't, I call this one Walmart at 2:15 a.m. on a Saturday because there really isn't much more. My gosh, you can't unsee the atrocities that you will see at a Walmart at 2:15 a.m. on a Saturday. I think it'd make a brilliant house. Speaking of, how about LaGuardia International Airport on a 6-hour layover? I'm already a person that doesn't like to travel, doesn't like to fly, doesn't like... What I'm getting at is, this is some scary stuff. But if you really want to stare fear in the eye, let's move on to one of the musical acts, because there's normally a house dedicated to a musical act at Halloween Horror Nights. And I think that the Insane Clown Posse is definitely one of the scariest things that you could do to a bunch of tourists from flyover states that have no idea what this even is. So, well done. And as long as we're in the nostalgia feels, talking about things definitely won't happen, but man, it would be funny if it did. How about Attack of the Killer Tomatoes? I know, yes, this is actually a movie, and a cartoon franchise from the late 80s. I'm dead serious, look this stuff up. Speaking of things that were movies that became cartoons that were really funny and really nostalgic and probably done on a budget of less than $50, The Toxic Avenger. Again, this is a dude who was a school janitor who fell into some radioactive sludge. I'm just saying Google it if you need a good laugh. Oh, I love the 80s. But it's time to get out of our nostalgia feels and into something a little bit newer. Usually Universal Studios features one of the newer films that's come out, something in the horror genre. And this one we're going Weekend at Willy's. I'm dead serious. It's Nicolas Cage tearing up a Chuck E. Cheese's. Well, not a Chuck E. Cheese, a Willy's Pizzeria, I think it is. Either way, this is going to be freaking hilarious. I can't wait to see it. Which, of course, brings me to our next one. This one, I don't know if it'll ever happen, but it makes me laugh thinking about it. We're going to do Gone with the Wind. That's right, the classic 1930s film Gone with the Wind. However, this is the Zack Snyder cut, so moving on. This next little beauty, again, will probably never happen. It is called Fear the Breaking Wind. This haunted house is basically just a bunch of elevator doors, and when you step inside the elevator, they all smell like somebody just went number 2 in them. So that brings us to the end of our haunted houses. Now let's talk about some of the scare zones. Scare zones are areas that are themed a certain way, and as you walk into them, you'll be, for lack of a better term, attacked by whatever the theme of the scare zone is. Of course, scare zone number 1. I'm kind of hedging my bets on this one, because I figure as long as I guess Beetlejuice again, there's a shot I might actually get one of these right. So scare zone number 1, let's say Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. It's one of my, 100 favorite movies of all time, so I would really love to see something Beetlejuice related, so let's take a shot at it. Scare zone number 2. I really think this one could actually happen, The Purge Forever. Universal does a lot of work with Blumhouse. They do all of those crazy old school like slasher films that are done on like a really good budget, and I just could actually see this one happening, The Purge Forever. However, one that definitely won't happen is one of my own creations, simply called Beware the Karen. Basically, in this haunted house, a bunch of women in very expensive clothes chase after you, screaming at you, demanding to speak to a manager because they need a refund. Universal Studios, if you make this movie, you gotta hook me up. I'm just saying. As we move on to our 4th scare zone, OK Boomer, this one just as offensive, just as annoying. There's a bunch of kids staring at their iPhones walking around in circles, telling you they don't care what the cost of stuff was. This one will just make you feel bad about yourself more than scare you, but then again, can't we all have a good laugh? Speaking of good laughs, the last scare zone is actually called the Toretto zone. This is where a bunch of guys with shaved heads, tattoos, wearing wife beaters, and jeans and boots just walk around calling you family a whole bunch. You're only going to get that joke if you're a Universal Annual Pass holder, but that's okay. That's really who this was intended for. Anyway, let's move on to the shows, because I'm sure you already figured out what I picked for my first one. We said it 3 times, the Beetlejuice Graveyard Review. I miss this show so much, and I really hope Universal finds a way to bring it back eventually. I know I'm asking a lot, but it would be cool. Speaking of things that would be so cool, we got to make it relevant for the kids. How about we do the BTS Halloween special? I'm told this is a band. I Googled it, and I think it's just a bunch of people singing and dancing. But if this is a real band and this is a real thing, I can see why kids like it. It's catchy. So I guess that's what my map's going to look like. We got 3 Beetlejuices, or Beetlejuice. What is the plural of Beetlejuices? I don't know. Either way, a bunch of quality, a bunch of parody, a bunch of garbage, and it's awesome. This is my Parody Halloween Horror Nights 30 map. I hope you enjoy. I hope it gave you a good laugh. I hope it made you smile. And as always, thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Have an amazing day, and I will see you guys in the park later.